It's the 20th anniversary of the NISMO Festival, and we're here at Fuji Speedway presented with an absolutely astonishingly good collection of racing GTRs and Skylines from the history of Nissan in motor racing from around the world. And let's have a look, and we'll start with 1971 model. I just love this style of touring car. I mean, look at the flared arches, the exhaust down the side. Come and have a look at this 1972 version of the Skyline touring cars, and then this stunning 1972 prototype Skyline GTR, and I just love the look of it. It's properly brutal. In the 1980s, things got so extreme that the Group 5 cars that were racing then, even today, have to be kept in a separate garage to all of the others. The famous Tomica Skyline Group 5 car is sitting alongside this Silvia. I know it's not a GTR, but it's a Group 5 car, and it's mad, and I love it. But moving on, you've got the absolutely sublime Coca-Cola Cannon Group 5 Nissan. It's just a legendary car. Quick jump into the 1990s, and here you go, the Hks Skyline right here. Check this out, this is a legendary livery. I remember this one from when I was a schoolboy. The difference of that Hks Skyline to those old 1970s cars is huge. When you get into the Group A cars with the enormous amounts of power that they produced. These machines with the legendary Yokohama livery on this example and the old NISMO logo, which I love. This is the car that people who watch NISMO TV voted the greatest Nissan race car of all time. It is, of course, the Group A Skyline GTR, driven by Hoshino and Suzuki. This car really defined a particular era of racing. In the mid-1990s, Nissan went to the Le Mans 24 Hours with the GTR, 1996 car there, and the 1995 car. You can't really miss that with Club Le Mans GTR right at the front bonnet of that. These cars on track are amazing, they're a real sight to behold. Look at these two cars from 1998 and 1999, JGTC, the series that went on to become SuperGT championship winners, with Eric Comas at the wheel of both of these. Pennzoil, beautiful yellow livery on those GT500 cars, real monsters to drive. And then you move on to the successor car of those two, another GT500. This is the 2003 Nissan GTR GT500, and this is when SuperGT started to get, well, then it was the final year of JGTC, but it became SuperGT, and this is when things started to get really, really extreme. You went from that car, which still retains some road car parts, to this. The Zanardi Nissan GT500 of 2008. This is a carbon fibre monocoque chassis, huge engine in it, great power, and the power level started to escalate at this point in SuperGT. In this car, you can see how low and wide it is, and how effective. There's two later variants of that car. But the power levels were going up and up, as I say, but at that time, SuperGT wasn't the most powerful version of the Nissan GTR race car. Indeed, no, that was this, the Nissan GTR Gt1. It was introduced in 2010, but it won the World Championship in 2011, and this is the actual car that won that World Championship with Lucas Luhr and Michael Crum at the wheel. And 5.5 litre V8 normally aspirated engine, it seriously makes a good noise. Where else to finish such an amazing trip through the history of the Nissan GTR but here with the 2017 Nissan GTR GT500. This is the Motul Ortec example driven by Ronnie Quintarelli recently to the outright lap record at Twin Ring Motegi, and he went round that circuit quicker than an IndyCar. This 650 brake horsepower, 4-cylinder turbocharged rear-wheel drive race car is not just a machine, it's a work of art. And with that trip complete, I cannot wait to see what is on display at the 40th anniversary NISMO Festival. The Nissan GTR GT3, as you can see here, and the Nissan GTR GT3, as you can see here. Next to it, of course, the Nissan GTR GT3. And alongside that is, of course, a Nissan GTR GT3 sitting alongside the very familiar Nissan GTR GT3. Moving on, we find a Nissan GTR GT3. This one's grey. And of course, there's a Nissan GTR Gt3 next to it, and a Nissan GTR Gt3. And finally, the real highlight of this section, a Nissan GTR Gt3.